technology, the future is online. Tune in to www.radiobulamasi.com. radiobulamasi.com.
यस रेडियो बुला मस्ती पर हम आप सभी को स्वागत करते हैं ए वॉर्म वेलकम टू ईच एंड एवरी वन ऑफ यू जहाँ पर भी हमारा आवाज़ पहुँच रहा है। जी हाँ, मैं हूँ आयशा और इंटरव्यू लेकर आई हूँ आप लोगों के लिए। तो चले बस हम लाइव फेसबुक पर भी आएंगे आपके लिए, बस हमारे साथ ही साथ जुड़े रहना। और हमारे साथ आज जुड़ा है मिस्टर सत्येंद्र प्रसाद, जो है एम्बेसडर ऑफ द यूनाइटेड नेशंस, ऑल्सो एम्बेसडर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर कनाडा एंड यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स। सो मैं हूँ आयशा एंड यस, बस थोड़ी ही देर में हम जो लाइव वीडियो है उसको भी हम शुरू करेंगे। और आपको पता होगा कि फिजी में यस, Fiji had a tropical cyclone Yasar that destroyed basically some parts of Fiji, and we are all trying to get together and help wherever possible. So stay tuned with us and we will introduce to you Mr. Satyendra Prasad. And with me I have Mr. Nalin, who will also host with me today. एंड बस थोड़ी ही देर में हम आपके साथ जुड़ जाएंगे। नालिन जी, आज आपका दिन कैसा था?
My day was really good. Thank you for asking. मेरा दिन बहुत अच्छा था and yeah, we are very exciting. Mr. Satyendra Prasad, thank you very much for taking your time out. We know you got a very busy schedule and we appreciate he'll be joining us in a few minutes.
Yes, that's right. We will be joined very shortly here. And जैसे हमारा जो वीडियो है वो चल पड़ा, हम आप तक मिस्टर सत्येंद्र प्रसाद को भी पेश करेंगे। यस, अभी जबकि हम कुछ टेस्टिंग कर रहे हैं, ज़रूर हम आपको आप तक पहुंचाएंगे ये लाइव इंटरव्यू। मैं हूँ आयशा एंड यस, रेडियो बुला मस्ती चलता रहता है 24 आवर्स अ डे, 24 आवर्स अ डे। और आप हमारे इस प्रोग्राम को लाइव जो वीडियो है इसको आप जाइए radiobulamasti.com और वहाँ पर आप हमारे ये जो लाइव वीडियो है उस पर ज़रूर देख सकेंगे। सो कैसे हैं आप लोग? यस, नया साल जो था, नया साल जो है वो ऑलमोस्ट
नया साल आने वाला है, पुराना साल या गुड बाय टू 2020।
यस,
बहुत से लोग एक्साइटेड है। फेसबुक पे हम देखें तो बहुत से लोग पे पोस्ट कर रहे हैं कि वो कैसे प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं 2020 को गुड बाय कहने के लिए और 2021 को वेलकम करने के लिए।
सो आप कैसे वेलकम करेंगे 2021?
वेरी नाइस, वेरी क्वाइट, वेरी पीसफुल।
वेरी पीसफुल, अच्छा। सो कुछ वैसा प्लान है ही नहीं?
नहीं, अभी तो कुछ प्लान कर ही नहीं सकते, किसी के घर नहीं जा सकते, किसी दोस्तों को बुला नहीं सकते। बस जो रूल्स और रेगुलेशन हमें दिया गया है उसी को हम फॉलो करने की कोशिश करेंगे और जो भी हमसे बन सके हम उस रेगुलेशन को फॉलो करके ये जो स्प्रेड है इसको काम डाउन कर सके ना।
यस, ज़रूर। एंड क्या कहे, इतना ज़्यादा मुसीबत आ रहा है सभी और एंड हमें मिलजुल कर एक दूसरे को ज़रूर मदद करना है। क्या बात है इसमें नालिन जी?
जी हाँ, बिल्कुल, साथ ही साथ में चलना है। वी हैव टू स्टे अपार्ट टू स्टे टुगेदर ना। हम सबको दूरी बना के रखना है ताकि हम सब जुड़ के साथ रह सके।
बिल्कुल सही। सो नालिन जी, यस, वंस अगेन वी वांट टू वेलकम यू ऑल and I want to welcome Mr. Satyendra Prasad on Radio Bula Masti. And Dr. Satyendra Prasad is from New York. He's originally from the Fiji Islands, residing in New York. He is the ambassador, Fiji's ambassador to the United Nations. Also ambassador responsible for Canada and United States.
जी हाँ, ये बहुत बड़ी it's a very big responsibility to handle, actually, taking care of the whole territory of
That's right.
United States and Canada.
That's right. So we want to welcome Dr. Satyendra Prasad on this platform on radiobulamasti.com. Mr. Satyendra Prasad, a warm welcome to you, and we welcome you on this platform and to Canada from United States.
Thank you very much, Aisha and Nalin. Very honored to be on your program, and really have been enjoying this program. And thank you very much for having me for a few minutes.
Thank you. And also, Dr. Satyendra Prasad, you are originally from Fiji and living in New York right now?
Yep.
I'm Fiji's ambassador to United Nations, and right now also the ambassador responsible for America and Canada and Mexico and this part
So
of
North
the world.
America
But
कह सकते हैं.
I'm G, and
Oh,
I am from Fiji. I'm just posted in New York at the Fiji embassy.
all right. So it seems like you have a lot on your plate. So, Dr. Satyendra Prasad, how about you just fill us in a little bit about your roles and responsibilities, some of your responsibilities as an ambassador.
Thank you very much, and my New Year's greetings to all your Bula Masti listeners across Canada, and I understand across parts of the US as well, and digitally tuned in. And can I offer my New Year's greetings to you and your production team, and to all your listeners in advance. As Fiji's ambassador in North America, I represent Fiji's interest. And a lot of our interests have to do with trade, tourism, development cooperation, political relations between Canada and Fiji, and right now, repatriating Fijians and Canadians, vice versa. At the United Nations, Fiji, like Canada, is a member of the United Nations, so this is more like the Parliament of the world, and we represent Fiji's interest in the Parliament of the world at the United Nations. And all Fijians will know that Fiji has a very large, small country, but very significant footprint in the United Nations. Our peacekeepers serve across the world. They serve with Canadian troops in many parts of the world. United Nations is right now involved on the front lines in Fiji, in helping our government and our communities and families respond to Cyclone Yasa, providing relief for children, helping with the coordination of government efforts, and a lot of the United Nations work in Cyclone Yasa is also supported by the government of Canada.
All right, okay. So, thank you very much, Mr. Prasad. And the purpose of this interview today, as we all know, that Fiji went through a devastating time with Tropical Cyclone Yasa just recently. And unfortunately, Fiji goes through this over and over again. And Mr. Prasad, you have a little bit more knowledge and information on what is exactly going on, how much damage this cyclone did to Fiji and what parts of Fiji. And I know we had a brief meeting with you yesterday, so I would like for you to just share that information with our viewers and our listeners, please.
Thank you. For your viewers and listeners, those who know about Fiji, they'll be very familiar with the cyclones in Fiji. Many of them may have grown up with one or two cyclones. For Canadians and who have not been to Fiji, they may not be so familiar. Fiji is in the tropics, so we get hit by hurricanes and cyclones once in a while. But I must say, Aisha, that tropical cyclone Yasa, which hit Fiji and walked through Fiji from northern and came out of the south, is the second most fiercest and strongest storm ever to hit in the southern hemisphere. And so in the what we are calling the red zone, the eye, where the eye of the storm moved through, it has been totally devastating, destructive. Nothing, no man-made structure has survived. And those former Fijians who may be your listeners, they would know that many of the homes are very strong and they're built to withstand 250, 260 wind knot speed winds. But these super storms are fiercer than that. They come with 350 miles an hour and above wind speed. So it's been devastating. Some just less than 2,000 homes have been totally destroyed. They no longer exist. They've been blown away. Some about 5,000 homes have been severely damaged, very damaged. And the total number of population that have been affected by this is just less than 100,000, which is somewhat like 10% of Fiji's population have been affected straight by this level of destruction. 80 schools have been destroyed, water
Wow.
systems, reservoirs, so people, communities and villages are without water. Many of these have local water supplies, small reservoirs that the communities have put together, and they've been washed away, so they will not have water for a long while because these things take time. So it's been devastating. It's heartbreaking, and thank you for bringing me. And I like the image that behind you, which sort of presents the scale of devastation.
It is just a
And that
What part of Fiji did this cyclone hit the most this time?
okay. So most of Vanuatu, the second largest island of Fiji, has been hit very severely. In the western parts of Vanuatu, which is a province called Bua, much of Maduata, much of the Kondrove, in the islands north of Vanuatu, and then in the Lau-Lomaiviti group of islands, the storms have also, the cyclone has also caused extensive storm surges. So in Rewa and in the mainland of Viti Levu, there's been extensive damage to flooding. Because of flooding and strong winds, people's farms have been destroyed, and crops have been destroyed, root crops, sugarcane, rice. And these things take a year plus to regenerate. So people will be without their livelihood, food, for a long, long time. About a third of all of Fiji, geographically speaking, has been affected by the winds, and other parts have been affected by the flooding and storm surges.
All right. So the other part, what about some of the remote areas that were totally dependent on the crops that were growing?
Absolutely, Aisha. I'm just giving you the approximate scale of damages. Fiji is a group of 300 plus islands. The government's survey teams are yet to reach some of the islands.
Wow.
So we will be beginning to get the reports by the end of the week, etc. Some of the villages are still cut off because roads have not been opened, or bridges have been washed away, or fallen trees have not been cleared. And though human beings and through aeroplanes we have seen the scale of the damage, but many of the remotest communities, it's very difficult to reach, and rehabilitation and recovery will be slow. It's a very difficult, it's a beautiful country, but today it's a very difficult country to, many parts of the country is very difficult to access.
It's very sad to hear.
Sadly.
So when we talk about hurricane season in Fiji is every year, but when we talk about this particular hurricane, it seems like this has done the most damage in a very, very long time, if not the worst, right? And what I guess makes it worse is that the areas that are affected is remote, and like you said, help will not get to them for yet a long time to come. That's why what we're trying to do over here, it makes it even more special for us to all get together and do whatever we can from our part. And I know a lot of volunteers will be wanting to go and personally help over there, which is not possible at this time, which again makes it a little bit that much harder. So we're trying from our side whatever we can to gather whatever we can to give to them and make life that much easier for them, for the people that are affected by this very sad event.
And that being said, we are working together with Mr. Bobby Niker and his team to raise some funds, and with your help and with your guidance and with your blessings, we are hoping that this is going to be a huge success. We are asking our community, we are asking our people all over basically to come out to help. You can actually come out. So we're trying to come up with a solution where people from anywhere and everywhere could donate to this cause. And as you can see in the video behind me, that is just one of the picture, and we will share many other pictures where the area was flooded. Nothing has been left for these people. So Bulamasti team, with the help of our residents, our citizens here all over Canada, what we are asking and pledging is to please help and to be as transparent as possible. I know Mr. Bobby Niker is working with a few of his members to set up a GoFundMe page so that these funds are totally visible to everyone out there. I know there are questions asked where the money is gonna go to and how, and so we just want to be clear that us here at Radio Bula Masti, we do not want to touch any money that's coming in, and the same thing was mentioned by Mr. Bobby Niker and his team,
His
that
team as well, yeah.
that they do not want to touch any money. They want to be as transparent as possible. We know it's COVID time right now. People here in Canada don't, some of them don't have jobs. They're struggling as well. So when we ask for donation, we want to make sure every penny goes to where it's needed the most.
The most,
We
yeah.
don't want to make a business out of this. We don't want to benefit from this. We want the people that are struggling, that have nothing left, them to benefit from this. So that's why we are getting together with a bunch of people here and reaching out to our viewers and listeners to help out. Donate as much as possible. I know some organizations are working on their own. Some organizations have already sent the funds to Fiji. A big thank you to each and every one that has done that on their own. But here we're trying to work together as much as possible to help the needy.
Absolutely. And Dr. Satyendra, if you can shine a little bit more light onto that. And viewers, we also want to mention, like Aisha said, this is not a fundraising where there'll be any administration cost or any hidden cost at all. That's why we are using GoFundMe. It will charge us a little bit of fees to do that, but it will keep track of every penny from the start to finish as to where it ends up. But Doctor, if you can shed a little bit more light onto how we're going to be doing this, and where the funds will start, or where the funds will end up, and who will the funds be allocated to.
Thank you very much. I'm appealing through your platform to all your listeners, not only Fijians, but former Fijians, but Canadians and everybody else, to at this very difficult time. Whatever little you can contribute will go very far. It is an exceptionally difficult time for Fiji, which is like Canada, also suffering from the COVID crisis. We have had to shut down the full tourism industry in the country for about 8-9 months, and the cost of that is very high. The government is very well coordinated with the United Nations. Let me assure you, all your listeners, the United Nations is working hand in hand in the same teams under the overall guidance of the Prime Minister of Fiji, with the technical support of the National Disaster Management Office. And there's detailed mapping of damages and categories of help that is needed, and detailed prioritization that is made together with the United Nations, helping Fiji on how to prioritize. What do I mean by that? For example, if there is an old couple and they have no children living with them, and their homes have been blown away, that should be a first priority. Or if there's a widower, for example, living alone, or maybe living with a disabled child, something like that, that would be an absolute priority. So the prioritization has very much been already made, and the detailed assessments are being carried out. And that is the way in which government, United Nations, together with the NGOs, Red Cross and many other organizations, are coordinating their assistance. And by need, by criteria, in some of the places, of course, there's no water. That photo right behind you, I think that's right now, is from the island of Kia, and the water system has been washed away. So their immediate priority, even before the homes, is to be shipping water every 3-4 days from the mainland Vanuatu until water system can be categories. And every 3 or 4 days, the NDMO announces its next step, next phase. The plans are listed. I will be, through Bobby Niker, be sharing the plans, the contributions that you are making, and what part of the overall effort is being supported. And as a group, you'll be able to prioritize. You may want to say, look, we want some of more of our assistance to be going into food, for example, or you may want to say, more of your assistance. You may want to go towards rebuilding homes or rebuilding schools. That is left to the group who's organizing that. But I really wish you well. I'm urging on behalf of the government of Fiji and Fiji Islanders affected by this to be generous. I fully understand how difficult it is for everybody in Canada, across the world. I know Canada is a great country. Canadians have a great heart. They have a great view to the world. They have a very enlightened view of the world, and they treat themselves as Canadians first, but Canadians that are part of a global community. So I'm really calling on the great Canadian spirit
to get together and help out.
Fiji.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad. And now it's good to hear from you that we can actually have a say in where we want most of the money to go to, which is great. And now, is there any kind of we will have transparency here in Canada when we're raising the funds with the help of a lot of professional, successful citizens in Canada. But once the money is, and the money is not going to come into any of our accounts, we're not touching it. We will be able to see online who's donating how much we've collected. Anyone, anytime can go in and check on GoFundMe page. Now, how can we assure our residents here, our donors here, that there will be transparency when the money gets to Fiji?
Absolutely. Prime Minister's office has taken responsibility for this. We will be, depending on your preferences, maybe you might want to prioritize food, for example, food rations and water distribution. So whatever amount it is, it will purchase 100,000 or 20,000 food rations. Each ration is determined by the NDMO. If in a household you have 2 adults and 2 children, then the size of the ration is about $150. If it's 4, 5, and so you will know, and we will provide you with the documentation and the reports on the number of food rations that were purchased through your contributions and the geo mapping of them, where they were distributed, in which areas they were distributed. And you'll get a very, very detailed report. It's very scientific. It's very methodical. We are working very professionally. There's no ad hoc. You just can't be dropping food or rations anywhere. These things are pre-mapped and they're purchased centrally so that the prices are brought down, and the prices at which everything are bought have already been negotiated. Actually, before the cyclone, the government has already negotiated the prices so that the prices are not jacked up after the
cyclone.
And so I'm assuring your listeners that you will get very detailed reporting available to you on how your funds have been used and deployed. And I know that it will go very, very far in helping our communities and families go through what is one of the most difficult times in their lives. And I also wanted to again remind your listeners, we go through cyclones all the time. This is not one of those cyclones. This is something that happens once in 200-300 years. Since records have been kept, this is the second strongest.
This is an extraordinary situation, I guess, yeah. Well, thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us. We know you're busy and you have other meetings scheduled, even late tonight as well. And again, we want to thank all the donors that have actually come forward so far, donated to this cause to help the people that are needing the help, and also thanks to actually, like Doctor mentioned, there's a very able set of boots that are on the ground taking care of where the money is going. They're trying very hard to get to remote places, understanding that these places were very hard to access prior to the cyclone. Now it's even harder for them to try their best to go out there safely to get help to them. And this is not a short road where 1 or 2 months is going to solve it. It's going to be a long road to recovery. As Doctor had said, that for the crops, it takes about a year for the crop to actually grow and sustain itself back in the system again. And glad to know that the government of Fiji is using modern technology and whatever resources is available to them to be able to probably access the damage that has been caused by the cyclone, and also to be able to safely get all this help to the people that actually need it. And again, thank you to everybody that has donated so far. And thank you very much, Doctor, for taking your time out. And you must be overwhelmed by calls coming in from different parts of the world, not only North America, to pledge the help as much as they can to the people affected by Cyclone Yasa.
And yes, we are looking forward to our viewers and our listeners, and not just here in Surrey. Like I had mentioned to the doctor earlier, we have a studio in Seattle, Bula Masti studio in Seattle. We have a Bula Masti studio in California as well. So we are reaching out worldwide to help in any way possible. And once we have the links and all the things in place, we will share the links so people can go in and donate. And once again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me, and I'm again wishing you a great new year. And thank you through your platform for all of you who have contributed already generously to Fiji. Great help and wonderful to interact with you. I wish you great success on this program as well.
Very happy New Year to you and your family as well, Doctor, and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad, and we will talk to you very, very soon, and we will let you go. Busy man, but you still took time out for this interview. So thank you so much. Stay tuned to radiobulamasti.com. I'm your host, Aisha, and with me I have
Nalin. Thank you very much, listeners. We will post all the details of this fundraising on our pages very, very soon.
Thank you.
In a world of technology, the future is online. Tune in to www.radiobulamasti.com. radiobulamasti.com.
यस, रेडियो बुला मस्ती पर जुड़े ही रहना, और एक खूबसूरत सा गीत हो जाए आपके लिए, और फिर उसके बाद हम जो शामी गज़ल प्रोग्राम है उसको हम ज़रूर बस आप तक पहुंचाएंगे। नालिन जी है यहीं स्टूडियो में, और शामी गज़ल प्रोग्राम हम आप तक पहुंचाएंगे। मैं हूं आयशा, और मुस्कुराते ही रहना, एंड प्लीज़ डू सपोर्ट अस, एंड लेट्स डू दिस टुगेदर। नहीं कि हम अपना नाम चाहते हैं, वो अपना नाम चाहते हैं, नहीं, इसमें नाम की काम ही नहीं है। वी जस्ट वांट बी एबल टू हेल्प आउट हुएवर वी कैन।
जी हाँ दोस्तों, सुबह की भूला शाम को घर आए तो उसे भूला नहीं कहते। ज़रूर थोड़ी देर हो गई हमसे गज़ल की प्रोग्राम स्टार्ट करने में, बट फिर भी कोई बात नहीं, कुछ अच्छे कारण के लिए आज देर हुई। अगर आपको मालूम नहीं क्यों देर हुआ तो हमारे फेसबुक पेज पर ज़रूर जाइए। वहाँ पर हमने लाइव वीडियो छोड़ा है जहाँ पर हमारे इंटरव्यू हुआ था डॉक्टर सत्येंद्र प्रसाद से, जो कि फिजी का एम्बेसडर है यूनाइटेड नेशन के लिए, और बहुत ही प्राउडली कह सकते हैं कि केवल यूनाइटेड नेशंस नहीं, वो रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं पूरी साउथ अमेरिका, जिसमें कनाडा, अमेरिका, मैक्सिको और साउथ अमेरिका भी शामिल है। जी हाँ दोस्तों, चलो इस गज़ल की प्रोग्राम शाम गज़ल को शुरू करते हैं। मैं हूँ आपका होस्ट नलिन, और एक बहुत ही अनोखे अंदाज में गज़ल आपके लिए पेश करेंगे। जगजीत सिंह की कुछ गज़लें हैं